No, it's as of right. They are doing it because the laws allow it to happen today. So yes, again, folks, the things that you see today that are happening without a ULURP process, the Uniform Land Use Review, that means it's as of right. Someone puts in a permit because the laws allow it today. And what she's talking about is a 7-story building going in on Union Turnpike as of right. Because the laws today are like Swiss cheese. They're already very flexible. So the idea that this is going to turn everything upside down. Things are already not great. It will get rid of any protections we have. Okay.
Thank you for your presentation.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Donna. I'm from Belrose, and my question is, inasmuch as we'll all leave here today, thanks to you understanding what is happening, I feel that the majority of us will also feel, my husband and I have done the emails, the phone calls, that's 2 people. I'm sure other people are trying, but help. I mean, we still need help on where to go. We're understanding, and your presentation was great, but I do feel we're gonna leave here and still say, like I handed out letters in my own neighborhood. I don't know if people sent them or not, but that was the old-fashioned way. Help us also in how to go now.
I see Rich about to take the mic, so I'm gonna hand it to him.
Thank you.
Hello there, I'm sorry, Rich Allenbrecht here. On the way out, there are handouts. The handouts have 3 possible letters. They're drafts, you can put your own personal information in, and it has the email address or the physical address of the mayor, all of his staff, and the city council members, assembly members, and whatnot in our area. So you will get that on the way out. There's 200 copies up there. It should be enough for everybody. So there is some information. Take those letters, use them as you wish. Change whatever you want, but if you could use that, send it out email, that'll be great. Thanks.
I also want to mention, very briefly, the council now has a unified system. So what happens is, when that email or that letter goes in, it actually goes out into a central location where all of the council members are connected to it. In addition, and some people here can agree with me on this, I think, when the council members get 10 letters, they freak out, okay? Because they get such little response in general to everything that if they get 100 letters, it's like a 5-alarm fire. And again, Corey and Rich, you can confirm this. I mean, every letter is worth 100 people, basically. So it's very important that you guys reach out, whether it's through email, written letter, or calling their offices. Folks, please keep it down. Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, thank you, Paul, for your wonderful presentation. My name is George from Oakland Gardens. I have seen your presentation before the City Council and before the Department of Planning on Zoom. Wonderful presentation. And I've seen the condescending attitude of the Planning Board and
the City Planning Commission.
Planning Commission.
Yeah.
Basically, during those Zoom hearings, the people that supported this proposal was people from the mayor's office, developers, architects, and some life science people, and that was it. And some artists from Manhattan. Besides that, people are opposed to this. And I want to thank you because you have single-handedly, you don't get credit for this.
Thank you.
You have single-handedly exposed what this proposal is. It's a bunch of nonsense. My question is, and I have a comment after my question is, how will parking be affected? Because in Oakland Gardens, when they went to
what? I'm sorry?
Parking.
Parking.
Because all parking regulations going to be out the window, the zoning, because in Oakland Gardens, we had a single-family zoning. Went to 2-family parking is pretty much impossible. It doesn't affect me, but it affects all the other neighbors because I park my car in my garage.
Right.
If this proposal is passed, how will this affect parking?
So again, as I said earlier, all parking requirements for all new units will be eliminated. Whether it's a one-family home or a 300-unit apartment building. And I'll just give this very quick mention, because I went toe-to-toe with city planning over this at Community Board 5, which is Glendale, Middle Village, Maspeth, that area, about a month ago. And I said to them, okay, you keep saying that it's not going to affect people, that getting rid of parking is not going to affect communities. Well, let me give you a good idea. I said, I'm a developer. So I'm going to develop a 40-unit building in an R6 zone. This is a higher density zone, R6 zone. Currently, I need to put in 20 parking spaces. I must put in 20 parking spaces for that 40-unit building. Okay? So if I'm putting in that building now, and I don't need to put any parking in, and now I'm saving $50,000 per parking space. $50,000 per parking space. So I've now saved $1 million that I have now pocketed. Okay? And you're telling me that, quote, well, we're not going to stop people from building parking. We're just going to end parking requirements. And I said, okay, so you're telling me that this isn't going to affect it? Oh, no, they're going to build more housing. I said, wait, why as a developer? Developers want to make the most money with the least amount of work, right? That is the goal of a developer, to make as much profit as possible from their work with the least amount of risk. Every unit built is a risk. If I don't have to put in parking, that's no risk. If I'm a developer, why am I going to want to put more housing in? Oh no, but you will. It'll happen. This is literally the statements from the Department of City Planning. There is no truth behind anything that they're saying. It's literally reading off a sheet of paper with their propaganda talking points with no basis in reality.
And this is the same problem that's going to happen with the Creedmoor development, the high density. They've only factored in very limited parking so the developers can build more.
I'm going to leave that to you guys, because that's like not, I mean, I have my own opinions on that, but I'm going to leave it to these folks who are directly involved with Creedmoor, which I am not.
So a quick comment is, so the reason behind this is because the mayor, as well as the city council, they want more affordable housing.
What, this?
That's their rationale.
City of Yes?
Yes.
No, there's no affordable housing that's going to get built from this.
No.
They're saying that affordable housing will be built, but no affordable housing.
So I have a solution for the mayor. Stop the sanctuary city nonsense and stop the illegal, welcome to the legal immigrants.
So,
vote this man, everybody needs to vote him out of office.
okay, so here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say it once.
Thank you.
The mayor created a committee. The committee was called the Blast Committee. It was made up of all of his donors, the biggest real estate companies, contractors, and housing groups in the whole city. They wrote this. It was their wish list. He turned it into the City of Yes. That's all it is, folks. It's him paying back his donors. It's really that simple. There's nothing more to it. It's a love letter to his friends.
Special interests.
Okay?
Yes, my name is Phil Malizia, and what I happen to live in the Belrose area, and the question I have is, in addition to the illegal shops, are they going to implement drug injection sites? Did they propose that? Because we don't want it.
Again, all of the things like homeless shelters, drug injection sites, all of the things you're talking about, those are all things that can happen today, not including this. That is, every agency is run by the mayor. If the mayor decides to do this, they can put this anywhere because the laws are written that way. And the only way to change that is to change the laws. Or the mayor. Or the mayor, or whatever political stuff you're doing, yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
My name is Mrs. Fiorentino.
Please speak into the...
Good morning. My name is Mrs. Fiorentino, and I'm part of the Belrose Civic Association. I want to thank you for your presentation and the information you have given us to follow through on. However, we all have families that live in New York, and many of our children would be benefiting from some of the housing and from some of the changes that they are calling regarding apartments, affordable apartments. I look on this as an opportunity to change our society for the better. We should be looking at what we can do to modify,
Hey, everybody, please respect each speaker.
Change is coming, there's no question. And I say we could look at it for modification purposes. In other words, if they are going to suggest 4 or 5-story buildings for density purposes and population control, we could lessen it to 4 height. Also,
Okay,
as
excuse me,
far
do you
as-
have a question?
Other people have the right to give a preference.
I see you with your notes, and I'm asking Miss
I'm almost finished.
Okay.
But you gave other people the opportunity.
questions, yes.
As for the size of buildings along Jericho Turnpike, I think they could provide affordable housing people over stores. Yes, it creates a problem for schools, but change does create problems that the city should be looking at, okay? As to parking, I believe in environmental issues, and I believe that if the city managed to give us better transportation to the city from this part of Queens, it would alleviate some of the problems. So I think personally, parking 1 car per unit and definitely improving the communication and the transportation. I refer to everybody who's getting upset at what I'm saying. Where are your children going?
I think I will handle this one, okay? I thank you for your concerns. I think all of us have similar concerns. The question is, this plan as is would impose stuff all over the city as of right. If we have identified a portion of a neighborhood, a block of a neighborhood that's appropriate, let's say for what you call affordable housing, we may have different views about that kind of thing. We can now, through the zoning process, identify and get those places either zoned or even developed. But right now, this takes that away. And frankly, there is no guarantee. I discuss this with a lot of friends. I have friends who chair community boards in Manhattan, for example. What their experience is with what's called the 80-20 affordable housing. So yeah, you're gonna build 80-20 in an expensive neighborhood where the 20%, if they even go in there, can't afford the local shops. So you have to understand there's a little bit more issues here that's involved. You talked about transportation. Right now, the MTA is doing something called Queens Bus Redesign. They are removing bus
Correct.
stops from our community. They are not adding bus stops. They are not, right, no, and there are people, and we are, so just understand, this is a process. The point you're making could be fair game in a discussion where we identify certain needs, but you're gonna give away the rights to those folks. You're gonna give away all rights to shape what happens in our community. If we wanna have certain kinds of housing, we can do it that way. But we don't need to give it away as of right, and that's what their proposal is. Okay, now.
Thank you. Next question, please.
Wow, intense. My name is Dan Prasad. And
Sorry, please, folks, keep it down.
My name is
I
Danny.
can't hear him.
My name is Danny Prasad, and I'm a homeowner for 25 years in Belrose. So my question for you is, I feel it's going to go nowhere because the city plans and the city promises stuff, no impact to environmental.
It's hard for me to hear.
The city plans and they say no impact to environmental, no impact to healthcare, no impact to overcrowding. My question to you is, I never attended any one of these political things. Is there a SLA, a service level agreement, when they write these stuff that they don't deliver? Is it consequence?
No.
If
I understand what you're saying.
If they make the plan,
Yep.
my housing property go down, overcrowding, I have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
move. Do they give me a check to say
No.
this is the difference?
No, not only do they not give
Why
you
not?
Not only do they not give you a check, as I said, this environmental impact statement is garbage. So this may be something where we can actually litigate to overturn this because they're lying in their documents. That is the only recourse besides the other things I mentioned, and that costs money.
So I attended a bunch of these. Unless you have a service level agreement, we all wasting time. You
No,
know,
there's no SL.
If they promise something and they don't deliver, you guys should petition to write up to say, hey, doesn't impact environment.
Doesn't work that
Doesn't
way.
impact. So that's my
Yeah,
own.
no, I totally appreciate the question. Doesn't work that way.
Again, to explain, he used the word service level agreement. Sometimes when there are zoning changes or development projects that require community review, what's negotiated are community benefit agreements.
Yes.
Sometimes they're not all that great. But the point is, again, community review gives us that ability to shape those things. And that's what we're arguing, that nothing should occur as of right. And this is making a whole lot of stuff as of right without any thought in advance of how they may impact in certain communities. It's like looking at a map of the city and envisioning it a certain way. We're not just a map on a piece of paper. It's real life people, real life buildings, real life everything.
Exactly.
Hi, my name is Kathy Parent. I'm in Belrose. I'm a retired teacher, and the UFT just beat the mayor for our medical. Why aren't we using the same things to bring this to the public? Most people in the community.
I'm sorry, the UFT did what?
With our UFT retirees. We
Oh,
just
yes, the
beat mayor.
retirees, not the UFT.
No, the UFT.
UFT is the one who attacked the retirees.
Yeah, we're voting them out.
Yes, I know.
But we won
Yes.
over the mayor
I know.
and everything else. So why aren't we using the same methods that Mary Ann used to
Okay,
make this
so-
available
yes.
with Zooms and meetings and
So for those of you who are not aware, the retirees have been fighting this terrible battle for the last 3 years. 250,000 retirees across the city, including my parents. So I'm very familiar, and Cory, right? And a lot of, probably some people in this room, right? Exactly. So what this was about was essentially the city coming in and taking away guarantees. You know, we're talking about SLAs, right? Guarantees to these folks who work for the city, not a new contract for new people coming in, but taking away the rights to health care for retirees who worked and put in their sweat and tears into the city system. And it's crazy, okay? I'm just gonna say it straight out. It's nuts. And this mayor ran on supporting the retirees, and then he did a 180 the second he got into office. So for the last 2.5 years, they have been fighting this, and yes, they did win this week. However, he's going to the top court to try to overturn it. I don't think the top court is even gonna take the case, frankly. But the point is, that's a different situation where the ability to sue is based on whether something is coming into being, right? So we call it in the system, if it's something is ripe. So in the case of the retirees situation, it was ripe because a series of actions were taken, illegal actions, were taken by this government to try to take away the health care, the Medicare. Okay, what I just said was the environmental impact statement is a lie. So if this goes through, and if the mayor and the council vote this through, we have the ability to do a lawsuit, what's called an Article 78 proceeding. This is a public lawsuit against the city. I think we have a lot to stand on because it's very clear this thing is a piece of garbage. I've said it multiple times today. However, it costs money, number one, and number two, and most lawyers are not suckers like I am, right, doing this basically for free, and number two, these kinds of lawsuits, you win 10% of them, even if you have a good case. It's like 1 in 10. If you're lucky, 1 in 50. 1 in 7, excuse me, 15%. So again, all I'm trying to say is, I think we have a leg to stand on, but I want to make sure we kill this before it ever gets to that stage.
Hi, Paul. Maria Dana Centes. I'm they can hear me. The president of the Utopia State Civic Association in Fresh Meadows. I'm a member of Community Board 8. I'm the area chair for that lady who was talking about the apartment buildings on Union Turnpike. And I just want to say, Community Board 8 has been against this from the beginning.
Absolutely.
And we voted against it multiple times. We've been pushing our local representatives who tell us to our face that they are opposed, but we don't know how they're going to vote, and that's why the phone calls are important. As far as those buildings that are going up in our community, in the past when Paul helped us rezone and when we fought other development on Union Turnpike, we had the support of city planning and the buildings department. That no longer exists.
Correct.
I have fought the buildings on 188th Street. I've put in appeals. I fought it all the way, and I was told by the commissioner's office, leave it alone, it's legal. And I sent zoning information in there. Paul gave me information to prove that those buildings were overheight and overdense, and I was told no. So when you think about voting and think about the people in power, I would just like to suggest you call your representatives. I've called everyone in our community and our area of Flushing, Fresh Meadows, all of them. A lot of them won't even get back to me. Their staff won't get back to me. All they say is they'll take a message. And you leave the message, I will remember to vote for you the way you remember to call me back.
Good for you. I'm Paul Bell with the Creedmoor Civic Association. Thank you, Paul, for your presentation again. My one question is, where can we find a listing of which way the council members are leaning? Because everything right now depends on
Okay,
this vote.
so,
Thank you.
yeah, sure. I mean, there are a number of council people who have gone on record as being opposed. Linda came out recently, and she also put it in her newsletter, actually, which I receive even though I'm not in your district, but she has made a firm commitment to vote no. No, 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 no. Vicky Palladino, who is my council person, has done the same thing. Joanne Ariola has done the same thing. I can't speak for all the council members. I have a good idea of who's against it. We don't have enough votes today. We have a good number of votes, but we need more. The problem is we also have some people who think it's great. We have people like Lincoln Ressler, who until recently was the head of the Progressive Caucus, who represents Greenpoint and Williamsburg. He thinks the city of Yes is awesome. Keith Powers, a graduate of St. Francis Prep. I can't hear you. Oh, yes, yes. This is about City of Yes for economic opportunity. But I was speaking about Lincoln and Keith for housing, because they've both gone on record saying that it's the greatest thing they've ever seen. Several other council people have done the same thing. There are people who are opposed to it for different reasons. I'll take any opposition. It doesn't matter what your reason is. As long as you're opposed to it, it doesn't matter to me. So, to answer your question, lots of council people don't want to commit because they're scared. There is, profiles encourage, this council is not, I have to say. Go ahead, sir.
Last question, please.
Last question, thank you.
Just curious, I know it was mentioned before.
What's your name,
but
sir, and where are you
Craig from Rocky Hill Civic Association, Belrose.
Thank you.
How can you have a environmental pact statement that's false?
Happens all the time. It's up
Is
to
the federal government involved in
the
your own
government-
statistics and things
Yes,
that?
the government creates a process, and then they allow people to fake the process. That's exactly what this is. This process was created to help communities make sure that whatever is going to happen is going to be balanced. The way that the EISs are set up is that they are set up for government to cheat. And this has been going on for decades. This is nothing new. I've just never seen it to this level before, ever.
No, I wasn't exposed either. I think it's shameful. And, how does the city planning committee, just allow
How does the
this?
City Planning Commission say that we're not going to do any analysis of any property in the entire city? We're just going to create some models and plug in neighborhoods to that. It's the most absurd thing I've ever heard in my life, ever. Thank you, everybody.
Everybody, this is the most important piece of paperwork you can walk out of here with. And like this man said earlier, even if you're sitting in front of the TV